Hi everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. So this past weekend I found a brand new to me antique store in my area. It's just a place that I had never been to before, and I found some really wonderful pieces. So we're going to take a look at the jewelry pieces that I found at that antique store, camera down in just a few minutes. But I also found some interesting books that I wanted to share with you first. So I found some reference books that were specific to jewelry. And I thought some of you might be interested. So this first one here is titled Victorian Jewelry. This book was written in 1951, and what's so interesting about that is that the author is talking about Victorian and antique jewelry through the lens of the 1950s, and she references the 90s, the 80s, the 60s, but she's talking about the 1860s. So I thought that was kind of interesting and fun, and she talks about what was fashionable and relevant in the 50s. So this was a really interesting read, I thought. There is quite a bit of exposition in this book. She's a little bit wordy, but it's really fun to read her take and listen to what she has to say about these jewelry pieces, living closer to the time period that these would have been popular. And I just thought this was a really fun find, and I was excited to add that book to my collection. And then the next book is actually also called Victorian Jewelry, funnily enough. But this one is actually a collection of antique jewelry catalogs. So catalogs from the 1890s through the 1910s. And these catalogs show jewelry pieces that would have been for sale during those times. So from different companies. And they're really, really fascinating. They have really beautiful illustrations of the jewelry items that would have been for sale. And a lot of them also include prices, which to me, that was one of the most interesting parts. Just as a reference, I thought it was really interesting because there's a lot of pieces that I actually recognized from either pieces I had seen, either listed online or in thrift stores, that type of thing, as well as pieces I've actually purchased. And that's really fun when you can find an item in a reference book that confirms a date or a particular era. Fun one. So this page is showing solid gold brooches and lace pins, and it's saying that these have fine white stone brilliance, and in parentheses it says Congo diamonds. So I believe that is diamonds from the Congo, right? So African diamonds. And for example, this really beautiful crescent shaped brooch up at the top here. So they're saying that solid gold with diamonds for $15. So I mean, I would have loved to be able to purchase these pieces for these prices listed here. Kind of incredible. But yeah, just a fascinating read, a really great reference book, and yeah, I just wanted to share these with you. So if you guys have particular books that you have found helpful or useful in your collecting, please leave me a comment. I would love to know and add to my book collection. I'm learning about vintage and antique jewelry. I certainly don't know everything, and I love it when you guys share your knowledge with me. It's really, really appreciated. And on that note, thank you guys so much for being so kind on my last camera up video. You guys were very encouraging in the comments, and I really, really do appreciate that. So I'll try to pop in a little more often camera up just to say hi, share some larger items that are harder to share when I'm camera down, as well as share some of the ways I wear these pieces. So today I am wearing this rolled gold locket. It is a photo locket. There is this beautiful wedding portrait on the front, and on the back side is this black and white photo of a child. I've shared this in a recent video, so I do have a better close-up of it if you go back just a few videos, but this is rolled gold, and I think it is absolutely beautiful. And then I have this really beautiful sterling silver Victorian book chain. I love this piece. I think it's a really great layering necklace. It does have a large spring ring on this that I have turned around to the back at the moment, but you can add a pendant directly onto this piece, and it's just really versatile, actually. And then I just have my little Tiffany Diamonds by the Yard pendant. That's a necklace that I wear pretty much every day. It's small, it goes with everything, and I just kind of leave it on. So thank you so much for being here. We're gonna move into the camera down portion of the video and take a look at some of the pieces that I found at this new antique store. So first up, what was probably the best score of the day was actually this ring here. And now this was in a little container of plastic Ziploc baggies, and all of the baggies were between $1 and $3. It was mostly all costume jewelry, but I looked through every single baggie, and this little piece caught my eye because it looked suspiciously like gold, and I didn't even pull it out of the bag. I think this was marked $2, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna grab this. I couldn't see any markings on it, but the construction of it and just the color of the metal made me take a little risk with it. And when I got home, I did test the metal, and it is testing as 14 karat gold, and the small stones are testing as diamond. So that was wonderful. I'm sure that this is amethyst, and you can see we are missing a stone here, which is most likely why tossed into that little section of costume jewelry. Take that as my reminder to take a look through the baggies, take a look through the sections that dealers have labeled as costume jewelry, because you never know what you're going to find, and sometimes that's where you score wonderful pieces. So this little $2 purchase probably paid for most of the other items that I got on Sunday, so I thought that was wonderful. I was really happy when I got home and tested it, and yeah, it is not marked anywhere on the band, so I am sure the dealer just saw the missing stone, saw that it wasn't marked, and tossed it into the costume jewelry section. So that was a fun find. And the other score of the day, at least in my opinion, was this absolutely beautiful carved cameo brooch. I'm going to turn it around here so you can see the back. You can see that the gold has oxidized quite a bit, and it's not marked anywhere, at least not that I could find. I did go over it with a loupe, and I did not see a marking anywhere, but the metal is testing at around 10 karat gold. It might be 9 karat, but it is gold, and I think it is absolutely gorgeous. Look at the carving of the face here. She's so beautiful. I love the flowers in her hair. I just thought this was a particularly well done cameo, and I just really loved it. This one was the only item that I really paid up for at all out of all the pieces on the tray here today. So this one I paid $60 for, which I still think was a wonderful price based on the fact that it is gold. It is really beautifully carved, and I just really love it. So there is that piece. This is a really fun item. So this was also in the costume jewelry section. This was, I think, $3 in another little Ziploc baggie. And when I took it home, it was really tarnished. It was scratched up. It looked like some sort of plating had been wearing off of it. And I can understand why they thought that it was costume jewelry. But as I was looking at it, I noticed that there was a marking on the bail. And right up at the top of the bail, it is actually marked Denmark. That is the only marking that I could see on it, but I know that there were a lot of wonderful designers who worked in silver out of Denmark and the Netherlands, so I picked this up on a hunch that it maybe was silver, and it is. So it's actually a little bell, and it is a double-sided cat. And look how beautiful the face is. I love the whiskers. I just love the shape of this. I thought it was so cool and interesting, and again, was sort of a hunch that it might be sterling, and it is. So really fun find there. Okay, and then this really cute little fish pin. This was also in the costume jewelry section, and it was very tarnished, but I did polish it up just a tiny bit. And I noticed that right up here inside of the fish's eye, it's going to be really hard to get it on camera, but it is actually marked Danecraft. And I have a few pieces of Danecraft sterling, so I knew that this was actually a good score. So this one was maybe $2 to $3, and I thought he was adorable. I love how simple the shapes are. I think he's super cute, and was happy to pick this one up. Next up is this nice and large circular brooch. We have this beautiful little bird here eating what looks like a cluster of berries. You have this sort of branch or stem with the leaves, and I just thought it was really beautiful. I loved the texture, and this one I thought had the potential to be sterling. It was not marked, but that patina sure looks like sterling to me. And this actually really reminds me of another Danecraft brooch that I have. I have another piece that looks very similar, but it is actually a flower design. So I thought maybe this was an unmarked sterling piece, potentially Danecraft or something like that. Not quite sure. I did test the metal, and it is testing as sterling. It's possible that this is just heavily plated, but either way, it is really gorgeous. We need to do some further testing, but I loved the scene on it, and it's a really nice size, and was happy to find this one. Now my vintage lovers and collectors are gonna have to help me with this piece. So I saw this little leaf brooch, again in the costume jewelry section. I found some really wonderful things in the baggies this time, but this was sitting there and I just loved the shape of it. I mean, look at how dimensional and beautiful it is, kind of from every angle, even from the back. It's really beautiful. and it sure looked like it could be silver to me. And I didn't see any marking when I was in the store, but after I got it home, I noticed that it's actually marked Napier, which really, really surprised me. I did do a scratch and acid test, and it is coming up as sterling, but it is not marked sterling anywhere. Now, I know that Napier did make sterling pieces. I know it was during a time when there was metal rations, and so a lot of costume jewelry makers did make pieces in precious metals. So I don't know if this is one of those pieces. My understanding is that those were usually marked sterling. So if you guys know if Napier did make sterling pieces that were unmarked, I would love to know because it is testing as sterling. I don't see any, copper tone or anything coming through, and it's just really, really beautiful. Yeah, I would love to learn a little bit more about this brooch, but I just thought the shape of it was wonderful. Next up, these two rings were in the same little baggie for $2 and they were 50% off. So I paid $1 for both of these rings. And the first one here, I believe they're both spoon rings, but this one here is exceptionally beautiful, I think. Look at the bouquet of flowers on this, what I'm assuming is the top of a spoon or some utensil. You have these gorgeous leaves that come down into this stem. So this one is marked on the inside. It's going to be kind of hard to read, but it is marked with the maker's name, and it is marked Sterling Norway. So I do think that this ring has some value. I think that maker is a collectible name, and I think it's very, very beautiful. This one is more of a classic spoon ring design, one that I've, kind of seen before. I think they're really fun, and for $1, how could you pass these pieces up? This one is marked on the inside as well. W.M.A. Rogers. And yeah, so two beautiful spoon rings. This one I believe is sterling. This one could be plated. I need to do some testing, but for $1, what a steal. Then I found this really fun panther articulated brooch. I really love these pieces. I know they were often worn kind of on the shoulder, and I just thought he was really sweet. He wasn't missing any stones. He has some little green rhinestone eyes. He is not marked, so not a branded one, but he was just a few dollars, and I thought he was kind of fabulous, so I picked him up. I also found this little bird brooch, and it is gold tone. We have some white rhinestones and a little blue one in the eye, and I just thought it was sweet. Not signed, so not any specific maker, not necessarily a high-end piece, but I just really liked the look of it. Not everything has to be high-end to be beautiful, and I think this is the perfect example of that. I just liked the shape of him. He's kind of holding onto a little branch there. And I just thought he was interesting, so I grabbed this one. I also found this piece, which it was marked as a Victorian brooch, which it may or may not be. It definitely has that look about it, and it looks to be made of brass. You can see that it's sort of a layered piece, so you have this almost mesh-like design. There is this frame, as well as these applied leaves and the flower. I just thought it was beautiful, and here's what the pin looks like. So it is a round hinge, but it does have a C-clasp, so not quite sure of the age of this piece, but I just liked the look of it, and I do have a collection of Victorian pieces that I thought it would work really well with, no matter what age it really is. I do think it's older, but I'm not sure exactly of the date on this one. And then I found this really beautiful piece. So this is celluloid, with some gorgeous rhinestones set into it. I loved the shape of it, this large swirl, and here is what the pin looks like. So I think that this is a hat pin. You guys let me know if you know differently. So there's no clasp on the end to secure it like a typical brooch, so I believe it just kind of stuck into something to add a little sparkle to, I think, a hat. I just really loved it. I've been collecting celluloid recently. Here's another piece of celluloid I found at that antique store. Again, just a few dollars, and I just really like these pieces. I just think they're interesting and worth saving. So it almost looks like a plant, like this would be a stem, and these are the leaves. Here's what the pin looks like. Definitely an older piece. I just grabbed it because I thought it was interesting. And sitting right next to that celluloid piece, I found this one. And I believe this is carved bakelite. It's in a brown color, and we have some silver tone metal accents. Here is what the back of this looks like. Just kind of an interesting one. I've been collecting bakelite recently, and I thought I would add this to the collection. Has a little bit of wear, but I just thought it was cool. It's a unique shape. Got almost this fan-like design on these Bakelite pieces. And here's one other piece of vintage plastic. Again, we have what I believe to be celluloid with some white rhinestones. And I believe this is another either hat pin or stick pin. It's got a really interesting shape on it, and I just thought it was cool. We have a tiny bit of damage here. Almost looks like a chew mark. So I don't know what quite happened here, but nonetheless, I thought it was worth saving, and I just thought it was an interesting piece to add to my growing little celluloid collection. I just think they're interesting. And then I found this ring in the little baggies again. I really scored in the baggies this time, so I believe this one was $5, and it sure looked like silver to me. That is why I grabbed it. And I noticed that it looks like actually a claw. So you have this claw design with the little talons holding the stone in place, and I just thought it was really interesting and cool. This almost looks like Larimar to me, but it doesn't have that polished finish, so I'm not 100% sure what the stone is or if it is a genuine stone, but I did test the metal and it is sterling, and this one I think was marked actually. Yeah, it is marked 925 down in here, so yeah, just a nice little pickup for $5. I just thought the claw design of this was pretty cool. Then I found another charm bracelet to add to my collection at this antique store. And I just thought this was really beautiful. Again, prices were really, really fair. This was, I think, $8. So you have the Thunderbird charm, you have what I believe to be a doctor's bag, you have this piece, and I believe these are all faux turquoise pieces. I think they're glass, but really cool. You have the Native American head there. There's also this little heart padlock charm, and then this hand with the little ball in it. And I just shared a video of charm bracelets, and I have this, I have a very similar charm with this symbol on it on another bracelet I have, so I need to look it up and see what that means, because clearly it is something that was popular to wear as a charm, so I need to do a little more research on that. This is what the clasp looks like, and it is marked sterling somewhere. I think it is on one of the links, marked sterling on the end link here. So just a cool little find for a few dollars. Definitely thought that was worth grabbing. And I found two other sterling rings, and I didn't notice that this one was broken. So sometimes that happens. Sometimes I just get excited about a find and I don't check it over well enough. So that happened with this one. But this piece was only $6, so really not too big of a loss. You have two really beautiful turquoise stones there, bezel set, all in sterling, and I'm sure that could be repaired, or I don't know, maybe just this piece could be turned into something else, but a cute little ring. And then this one, again, a few dollars, and this was a newer piece. It's more contemporary. It is marked 925 inside. If I can get it in focus there, but it is marked inside the band. I just thought the stones were really pretty, and I liked the little heart detail on the setting there. So just a sweet little ring. Then I found this piece, which I have actually seen before, and this is a Sarah Coventry ring. And these are rainbow glass, and I think they're really, really cool looking. So I don't always pick up Sarah Coventry, but there are certain pieces that kind of speak to me, and this one did. I just loved the glass in this piece, and I thought this was really, really fun. And here's a really interesting sterling silver brooch with enamel, some sort of leaf with this little kind of stamen, I suppose, coming up the center of it. Here is what the back looks like. Definitely an older one. We have a tube hinge and a C-clasp there. So there is some numbers up here. I don't know if that is a patent number or just some sort of registration number. It is marked, I think that says A&S or AJS, I'm sorry. And then we do have some silver hallmarks, but I just thought it was a beautiful one. And I just loved the color. The enamel looks to be in really beautiful shape. Yeah, just a fun piece. I also grabbed this little lucite cameo. I just thought she was interesting and cool, and the price was right. So you have this little resin black and white cameo on the front set onto this lucite, clear lucite frame. Here is what the pin looks like. I am attracted to lucite pieces. I don't know if they really hold too much value, but I think they're fun and I think they're really beautiful. The next is this piece, and this is glass. It has an intaglio carving. It is carved on the back side with this archway. And to be completely honest, I don't know where this archway is located in the world. I'm sure it is a place you can visit in real life, but I haven't looked this up just yet. But really beautiful, thick piece of glass set into this silver tone frame. Here is what the pin looks like. I don't believe that this is sterling or anything. I believe it's just silver tone, but I thought it was beautiful. I really loved the carving on this piece, and it looks to be in really nice condition. There's not any major scratching or anything, which can happen to these glass cameos or carved scenes sometimes. Thought it was just really beautifully done. So in this little box, so this pendant is something that I have had for a few years, and this is a floating opal pendant in 14 karat gold. But the piece that I recently found, I found this pair of really beautiful floating opal earrings, and these ones are done in gold fill. So they are marked 1/20th 12 karat gold filled. I do think these ones are vintage and really beautiful. I thought they would match really, really well with the pendant that I already have. And in the same bag that those little earrings were, these were included as well. And these are another pair of gold filled earrings marked on the screw back. So there's little glass faux opal stones with some white rhinestones, and I thought they were really pretty. I was definitely purchasing this for the floating opals, but definitely not mad to get another pair of beautiful gold-filled earrings in the lot. I found this beautiful glass necklace. This is art glass, and has a beautiful blue tone to it with some other little color inclusions in it. I'm not sure how old this particular necklace is. I just really liked the glass beads on it, and I thought it might have a little bit of age. I was just really drawn to the color of this one and thought it was really, really nice. Now, this is something I wouldn't normally pick up, but the price was really good on it, and I just loved this Art Nouveau handle. So this is some sort of brush, maybe like a grooming brush of some sort to brush off your clothing. That's what I think it might be. But just look at the beautiful face on this handle. This really beautiful flowing. Her hair almost turns into the stems and leaves of the flowers at the bottom. The same on both sides here. Just a really gorgeous piece, probably silver plated, but I just loved it. Thought it would be really nice for display. It's gorgeous. And then I found this thing, which I had never seen before, but they had it labeled as a lipstick holder. And I thought it would make a really great tray to hold art supplies, actually. So like pens, I have some like thicker Copic markers and things. I thought I could use it on my desk. So I just really thought it was interesting. You have these beautiful flowers and leaves all around. I just thought it was cool. Some sort of cast metal, I guess. And I just thought I could put it to use. I'd never seen anything quite like it. Really beautiful. It has a little bit of a gold wash on it that is wearing a bit, but just kind of loved the design of it. And sometimes I buy silly things. This little box is not silly. I think it's actually quite beautiful, but this was $1. So it was on a little shelf where everything was $1. And I loved the little Jasperware accents on it. Definitely meant to imitate like a Wedgwood. I'm sure that this is not. It is not marked anywhere, but it's some sort of porcelain or ceramic, and with these little beautiful cameo scenes on the lid and on the front. And inside is kind of the silly pieces that I bought, but sometimes animals that are cute or fun get the best of me. And these little blown glass animals, there's a few more that I'm going to share with you. These were all inside of a little Ziploc baggie that was $6, and I just couldn't leave them there. So the first one here is this camel. I think he is wonderful and very, very fun. And then look at this guy. So he is some sort of dog. Look at the ears, how adorable. It almost looks like he's wearing a little beret. I just thought he was fantastic and kind of hilarious. Oh, this was included there. This one is not glass. This is just a little made in Japan dog, and I do think he's really sweet. Made in Japan. Yeah, so that was in there as well. Adorable. And we have this very cute blown glass frog in green. Really, really cute. And then there are all the other little blown glass animals that were in that baggie. We have this little deer who is very adorable. Look at him. We have this little penguin. So, so cute. There is a little swan. some sort of, I think this is a bird. I'm actually not quite sure, but really, really cute. And then another, I think this would be a deer as well. I just thought they were adorable, and yeah, sometimes the cute factor gets to me. Very, very sweet. So yeah, those were my finds at this new antique store that I just discovered. I think this beautiful 14 karat gold diamond and amethyst ring will pay for basically everything else I purchased. So this was a great score, and this cameo, I just love. She's really, really beautiful. So yeah, those were the pieces I found at this antique store. Let me know if you had a favorite piece, or if you have more information about anything I shared here today, please leave me a comment. You know I love to learn more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.